Did you fake the whole thing?
Good evening. A claim by a white McCain campaign volunteer that a black man robbed her, beat her, and carved a B into her cheek in a politically motivated attack sent a jolt through the election landscape. John McCain and Sarah Palin called the young woman to express their concern. The Obama campaign said its thoughts and prayers were with the 20-year-old college student. But now, police in Pittsburgh say it was all a hoax. CNN has learned that the young woman has been jailed, is being charged with filing a false police report. Authorities say the GOP campaign worker has told them that she's had mental problems in the past. Our panel includes Joe Hicks, the radio talk show host and Pajamas TV commentator. In New York, Katarina vanden Heuvel, the editor of The Nation. In Washington, Babe Buchanan, CNN political contributor. And in New York, Nancy Giles, social commentator, contributor to CBS News Sunday morning. Does this story, Joe, as a black man, offend you?
Well, of course it's offensive. It should be offensive to everybody, and everybody took it at its face value. Both campaigns tried to, deal with what appeared to be a very nasty and volatile situation. She's obviously a disturbed young woman. So what can one say about, I mean, there's something like 10% of the American people think that Elvis is still alive, and if you send him a letter, you'll get a return reply. So you got nuts out there.
Any effect on the campaign?
I don't think so. I think they just want both. Obviously, the Obama campaign doesn't want to talk about it. The McCain campaign will be embarrassed about to continue to talk about it. They just want it to go away, clearly.
Katarina, any effect?
Well, I think she's clearly an unwell, unstable young woman, but it does make you concerned about stoking any climate of intolerance or the fear-mongering and some of the division and distraction we've seen at rallies held by McCain and Palin, because at a time of economic pain in this country, you do find people who are on the edge, and there are people in this country on the edge, and those kinds of attitudes, that those rallies are going to could lead to more problems. You know, the whole issue of race is such a contested one in this country. Fortunately, in my view, the serious issues, the big issues of this election, particularly the economic anxiety, pain, and stress, trumping the racial fears.
Babe Buchanan, what do you think?
I think, first of all, that this incident had nothing to do with either campaign, and it had nothing to do with race. It had to do with a tragic situation, a lady that was obviously unstable, as the other panelists have indicated. But to suggest that this is in any way was contributed, that the rallies of the McCain-Palin campaign somehow contributed to this, is such an outrage. We are running against an individual, Obama. We have exciting rallies, just as Obama does. Many, many people come. 99, if not 99.9% of them are terrific, wonderful Americans who are there to support a campaign and be involved. And to suggest that somehow those things that are being said on the stage is encouraging this kind of approach is outrageous.
Nancy, what do you make of it?
Thanks, Larry. I totally disagree, although with all due respect to Bay, this is kind of like a reverse Tawana Brawley situation. And I think that the fact that the young girl, although she is clearly disturbed, said that it was a black man that attacked her, definitely casts a racial pallor over the whole thing. And again, it goes back to John McCain's sense of judgment and who is vetting the people that he's talking to. Joe the plumber turns out not really to be a union plumber. He doesn't have enough money to buy the company he claims he was going to buy. This girl, the whole thing didn't happen, and yet McCain calls and offers his support and sorrow and stuff. It keeps going back to a lack of judgment and a lack of vetting, if nothing else, of people that this man is in contact with.
She was a volunteer. Joe. He was never in contact with this woman. Larry, come on, let's get the facts out. You can't just have panelists say outrageous things.
This not is a outrageous volunteer. At all, Babe.
Do you know how many volunteers Obama has? We are talking 100,000 volunteers. No, she was a
volunteer, but she was...
She was a volunteer. Do you know? I mean, I've run campaigns a lot smaller than McCain's, and I can tell you don't meet all your volunteers.
Joe, hold it, Bay. Hold it. Don't take over. Joe, you don't see a racial component here? Why accuse a black? Why not just say a guy put a B on my sheet? Why say black guy?
Well, but who knows?
I mean, she's inventing the whole thing.
The idea that somehow, first of all, this is not had. Remember the case of the woman who pushed her two kids into a lake?
And said a black man did it.
And said it. Okay. those kind of things that went on for days and days and days and did have certainly the possibility of really generating a lot of bad feeling. This woman, this just happened like yesterday. There hasn't been enough time for this to generate much in the way of any kind of sensationalism on any kind of, or dredge up any kind of racial resentment here. The woman is sick, and let's not try to then play out the partisan role here that I hear from some of your guests here tonight, trying to say, oh, well, the McCain camp should have vetted this one. Come on.
But Joe,
you tell me there's not some odd nutcases working throughout this country for Barack Obama.
One at a time, one at a time, Katrina.
There is Bay, you have to be concerned about the climate in this country at a time of great economic pain and stress that contributes to pushing those who are living on the edge, whether into bankruptcy, 10,000 foreclosures a day, or those who are mentally unwell, who may not be getting the care they need, into this kind of situation. But let us be honest, this country has come a long way. Extraordinary.
Of course.
The next president of the United States may be an African American, but we have a ways to go, and this country remains divided. One of the great speeches of this nation's history, I would argue on a par with Abraham Lincoln's Cooper Union 1860 speech, was Barack Obama speaking about race and speaking about it as we are a flawed nation, we are imperfect, but we can be a more perfect union. And that is what we are struggling for, not talking about this unwell woman, but talking about the future of our nation and the climate, the unity that Colin Powell spoke to.
I got to take a break. Thank you. Some of our panelists will be returning. Joe, we look forward to seeing you again soon. Joe Hicks, Katrina Vanden Heuvel, Baby Buchanan, and Nancy Giles. And when we come back,